Okay, welcome back to the garage. Today we're going to keep on keeping on with the brake lines. As you saw last time here, we made up the master cylinder line lock line down to here. Okay, now that I've got the front portion of this brake line sorted out, I can move on to the rear portion, and I can use the old brake line as a template. I've got to see if I can make this super sharp 180 degree bend here. First off, I want to pull this bracket off. I test fit this up there just to make sure that, changing over to the 4-link and doing all the things that I'm going to change doesn't affect how this brake line should run. So I think I can use this as a template and start by taking that thing off there. All right, got this old line off there and this little bracket here. Could use a little cleanup, but not bad. This thing will be much happier with new lines on it. So let's get to bending and such. Okay, I've cut a length of the stainless steel tubing, 3/16, longer than this piece because I can always shorten it later. First thing I got to do is put a flare on the end of it and start making that bend there. Work my way back that way. Okay, got a flare on the end of this guy. Getting ready to bend this. I want to make double sure how much of this that I have to follow and where I can be long and where I can be short. So I'm going to put this underneath the car one more time and just see kind of where all of this sits. And that'll let me know how accurate I have to be with that bend. Okay, to make this old brake line a little easier to work with so that I can use it as a template, I'm going to cut it in half. And I'm going to do that right about here. Okay, this is where it comes along the rocker, right along the pinch weld there. And then it cuts over and comes along the side of the subframe and then up around the subframe and to the master cylinder. So right here, it's about in the middle, as well as there's a clip that holds it on, like right here. Not that I'm going to be using this line again, but just if I want to use this as a template in the future, I know where I've cut it. I know that each end is going to work out pretty good. There we go. That's going to be easier to work with. Okay, I'm out of the car now. Cutting this brake line has made it a lot easier to work with. I've got it clamped into place here, and I can see kind of where it needs to go. The 4-link is going to not really be in the way as long as I keep this tucked up in here and out of the way, down and around. I know there's a screw clip that goes here. There's a rivet clip that goes in here. I think there's another screw clip in back here. The beauty of having a 1968 Firebird is the brake lines are going to be the same, and I can take a look at those and make sure where the clips go and how this is attached. This bracket here, I cleaned it up a little bit, screwed this what's left of that flex line onto it to make sure that it's set in the right place, and yeah, I think we can start to pull this off here and maybe start doing some bends. Okay, before I start bending my piece of stainless steel there, I just want to make sure that I've got the proper end on it. Here's the hose I'm going to be using, and yeah, the end on it is actually bigger than the 3/8 end that I previously had crimped on this guy. So I've got to upgrade to a little bigger piece to go on that guy, and yeah, I can flare this and start bending. Okay, I can hold this old line up to the bender here and see how tight that radius is going to have to be. Typically, like this nut needs to be on that piece to hold it into place. So this I've got to try and figure out a way to make this loop a little bit shorter than I typically would be able to with this bender. I figure now's a good time to bust out a piece of template stainless that I've got. Instead of ruining this 10-foot long piece, I can just ruin this little piece and see if I can make this bend, see if I can make this area, because I should be able to kind of get around this crucial area here and navigate that with this spare piece and then transfer it to that. Let's try it. Okay, I got that little sample template there bent up. I think it's going to work just okay. It's got to be a little longer loop than this. I'll test fit this underneath the car and just make sure that it works. Okay, I've got this little template test fit up in here. I put this flex line on here so that it's got a solid point to mount to. Now I can kind of work out how I want this to flow, how I want it to go, how I want it to line up. Okay, after a little deliberation and bending here, I decided I didn't want this to make such a hard turn and come back and have to go over here and then around. I think I can just make it come underneath this. This is the seat belt bolt for the rear, and I can come just around that and then over to the side and then down to the front. I think that's the way that I want to build it. I'll think about it a bit more, but I like it. Yeah, I think I got it bent up where I like it. Let's go ahead and do this. Okay, now whenever I was bending this, what I did is tape the template to the actual piece of steel. That allowed me to get this bend here perfect. I think it's looking really good. Let's keep trucking. Okay, back under the car here with my template in place. What I did is I marked the end of this template on the actual piece, and luckily this green wire, if I strip the sheathing off of it, fits perfectly in there, and I can build my line around here, pull this template off, and apply these to the other thing. So let's do that. Okay, that green wire didn't really work very well as a template because it kept rotating inside of that other template. So I used a piece of hanger here instead, and I went ahead and bent this up. Got that line bent up there. Now I don't have the rest of it bent, but I do have it just kind of laid in here, kind of clamped into place. I've got to figure out where these bends go because it's got to come up here and then around here and then down the side of the pinch weld here. So this will allow me to take some pretty accurate measurements, mark the body, mark the line, and find out where I want all these things to be. Okay, I'm getting this thing all bent up. It's looking real good. Real happy with it, using the old one here as a template for part of it. Let's throw it back underneath there and see if she's close to fitting. Okay, yeah, it's looking pretty good in here. Got it coming down around here, bending here, going over to the pinch weld, and then down. I just need to throw a bend in it here to get it over to here, and figure out what I want to do there. So just about done with this piece. Okay, I've got these little rivet clips that go in here. There's a little provision for one right here. Put it into place. I believe you stick a punch up in that hole and hammer it home, and that spreads out the back side of it and holds it into place. But that's going to go there. There's another one that goes on the subframe right over here. There, like this. One or the other. It goes. There's a couple different holes here that it can go in. I think it goes in that one. I'll take another look at that. But I think I want to put my bend in it right about here, shoot it over, and then down. So let's make that bend. I can also get my angle finder on it here with a little scrap and see exactly where I want that bend to be and how much I want it to bend. So without further ado, let's pull this off here and throw a bend in it. Okay, I threw a couple bends in it here to get it from this pinch weld over this subframe and the subframe down. I've got these clips here just kind of wired into place to see where they're going to sit. Now I can mark it where I need to cut it off. Now before I put a flare in this guy, I've got some protective material to go over the top of this line. I've got to figure out where I want that, mark it out on here. I can use the old piece as kind of a template as far as what they used that protection on, which areas they used. So I can do that here. So let's get to marking this out and get ready to cover it and flare it and get it ready to go. Okay, I've cut it to length here, and then as well I put on this stainless steel coil sheathing, which will protect it from rock chips and whatever else may throw at it. I put it in various locations where I thought it might be exposed the most. I'm going to test fit this up there one more time, and then I can flare the end of it, put the offset bend in it to match up to that that valve underneath there. That guy. Anyway, let's test it one more time. Okay, it's looking pretty good. This is the final fit. I think it will be. It'll have a screw and a clip holding it right there, and clip in here maybe another one back in here, and then there, and clip in here. Now then I can go ahead and flare it and throw that offset in it, and then I'll be done with this piece. Okay, now then I'm getting this offset bend put in here, and to tweak it just a little bit, I can put a box end wrench on it and just pry on it ever so slightly and get it right in the shape that I want it to be. Let's try this, let's test fit this one last time and see what we got. All right, then here's the finished product. I think it turned out really good. I didn't get this offset bend quite as straight as I wanted it, but it's gonna work out just fine. I don't have any doubts about that. I think it's gonna work just fine. So that completes this brake line. Now we've just got a couple more to do. But before we get to those, I just want to show you these rivet clips real quick. You put them into place, use a punch them into where they live. This one here has got a little bit of a gap on the back side. I didn't really think too much of it because I love hitting stuff with a hammer. And I come to do this one here and just completely mangle that provision, if you can see that. Just, you know, go to hitting stuff with a hammer. I think this hole either needs to be drilled out. It might be threaded. If you look up in there, kind of looks like it might have threads in it. So let's see if there's a bolt that maybe fits that. Either way, I got to pull this back out, attach that. I'll not bore you with any of that. Let's move on to making brake lines up there.